Morning, everybody. Feroz, just check if there's anybody outside to ask them to come in and we can get going. We can keep to the schedule. There's fish to catch. Thanks for coming, guys. I know you're all busy in your various industries and it, but thanks for taking the time to come and listen to Samir's story. I think it's a good story. Um, as you know, the company listed last year in March. A lot of promises were made, and I think the team has done exceptionally well as far as I'm concerned. And I think it's a team that's been focused. There's the market conditions out there is tough. Companies are starting to make 10, 15% growth. The JSE has gone crazy. I think most of the shares on the JSE is slashed by 20, 30%. So how do you pick your companies? I mean, without saying too much more, I'll pick Premier any day. Possibilities are there. Samir will tell you what he's done. The team has worked exceptionally well. Samir, the tender, and their whole teams. It's about focus, and even though there's noise, there's market conditions, I still believe if you're the underdog, you keep your head down, you move forward, and you grow, and the results will follow. And the only way to silence critics is to perform and to deliver results. But having said that, I think let me call Samir so he can run through and we can answer questions later. Thank you.
Thanks, Khalid. Morning, everyone, and morning to the viewers up in Johannesburg as well. Just on the presentation content this morning, I'll be covering the group structure, introduction, divisional overview, 2018 key highlights, and the 2018 performance review. Just the group structure at the moment, as you can see, AEI is the major shareholder, 55%. They own of Premier Fishing, 45% by institutional and public shareholders. Premier Fishing owns 100% of Premfresh Seafoods. That's our sales and marketing division. Recently bought Delado Fishing Enterprises, the largest squid operator in South Africa, and then Atlantic Abalone, our abalone farm out in Gansbaai. Just a bit about the company. We are one of the largest black-owned and managed fishing companies in South Africa. Well-diversified product basket, which includes rock lobster, octopus, squid, cultivated abalone, pilchards, and chovy hake. Currently employing more than 800 employees, accreditation and memberships, a safe FDA as well as EU certification, as well as a fully HACCP certified facility across the country. Well-established strong brands which have been present locally as well as internationally. Just an overview of our operations. In our lobster division, we currently have 2 processing plants, 6 vessels, South Atlantic brands, our markets in USA, China, Japan, Hong Kong, and Europe. Squid, we've got 2 processing plants, 22 vessels, 2 brands, Sea Diamond, and recently the Delado brand, markets out in Italy, Spain, and Greece. Hake, we've got a joint venture with Oceana, 1 vessel, and our market into Europe. On the pelagic side, 1 processing plant, 4 vessels, and our markets are locally in South Africa. Abalone Farm, which 1 processing plant out in Gansbaai, our brand, the Atlantic Abalone brand, markets China, Japan, and Hong Kong. Just some key highlights for the 2018 financial year. We concluded the acquisition of Delado during May 2018, although we have an effective date December 2017. Revenue increased by more than 20% from 410 million to 490 million. Operating profit increased by 40% from 65 to 91 million. Cash generated from operations increased by 128% from 40 million to 91 million. Strong performance in our squid and our lobster division. These results exclude a major portion of Delado due to technical IFRS issues. Just to continue, we increased our stock holding of the abalone farm by 19 tons from the prior year. The expansion of the abalone farm is on track with 60% of the expansion completed to date. Our new abalone hatchery will significantly increase our spat production and will be operational by the end of this year. Some highlights: strong performance across all of our divisions, good catch rates and sizes landed, good stable pricing on most of our products, good and stable performance in our abalone division, good operating efficiencies and synergies across divisions. Some lowlights: as we know, industry-wide the pilchards has been quite low during the current year, and the first half of the year strong USD exchange rate in the first half of the year. I'm going to call up the FD just to go with the financial review, and then I will come back to look at the strategy and growth and to take some questions.
Thanks, Amir, and good morning to everyone. Before I go over the financial overview, I just want to explain just a few things. We acquired Talado this year with an effective date of 30 November. But in accordance with accounting standards, we could only consolidate the results from May, which meant that obviously the financials from December up until May are not on the financial results which have been published out on SENS. So these are the financial results which are according to IFRS, but to show you what the financial results are according to what we believe is the true performance of the group. So our revenue is up by 20% from 411 million last year to 491 million this year. This has been driven by the good catch rates we experienced in the lobster sector, as well as on the squid sector we have experienced good catches as compared to the prior year, and also with the contribution from Talado. Our operating profit is up 41% from 65 million last year to about 92 million this year. Profit after tax is up as well 40% from 94 million to 68 million to 95 million. So I think this is like an excellent performance for the group. Headline earnings, there you can see it's down 31.60 cents to 34.59 cents last year. In the prior year, we only listed in March, which meant that there was a weighting of the shares in issue. So this year, we're taking into account the full 260 million issued shares into the calculation of headline earnings. But if we were to compare like for like on the 260 million shares, the normalized headline earnings is 31.60 compared to 26 cents last year. This is what we believe is the true performance of the company. So these are the results if we included Talado from the 1st of December up until the 31st of August. So as you can see, the revenue increased from 411 million last year to about 582 million this year. That's like a 42% increase. EBITDA almost doubled from 80 million last year to 160 this year, and also operating profit from 65 to 142. So as you can see here, it shows that the business has doubled as compared to the prior financial year. Our balance sheet also has grown. Also, we are bringing in the assets of Talado, that's the consolidation, as well as we've seen growth on the abalone farm. Our stock holding increased from about 126 tons last year to 145 tons, which also came into the balance sheet. And we also got a few stock holdings as at year end, and some data which we obviously realized these months of September and October. If you can see, we have got very low external debt of about 8 million as compared to total assets of 1 billion. So the group is lowly geared, and I think it's in a good financial position to pursue future acquisitions. I think Samir will talk to it when he talks about the strategies going forward. You can also see the performance coming through with the cash. Our cash generation from operations is up 128%, 40 million from last year to about 91 million this year. Where we have utilized our cash is we've used about 87 million for the construction at the abalone farm. The construction is about 60% complete, we expect to use another 100 million in this coming financial year. We paid dividends of about 39 million, and we also paid tax of about 54 million. That tax payment also includes some tax that was paid by Talado. Then we got about interest income of 29 from the cash that we raised on the listing, and we paid about 105 million for the acquisition of Talado. As the revenue per product, most of our revenue is coming from lobster and squid. I think we can see there the growth that is coming from the squid sector. Pelagics, unfortunately, we experience very low catches on the pilchard side, which is why you see the revenue going down from 80 million last year to about 63 million this year. The catch rates have been low for the entire industry. This pie chart just shows the revenue contribution per sector. If you can see, most of our revenue in the prior year was generated from the lobster and pelagic side. But with good catch rates in the squid sector and as well as the consolidation of Talado, you can see that squid now has got a significant contribution to the revenue of the group. This is showing our markets for our products. So in terms of West Coast rock lobster, we sell into mainly China and Hong Kong, hake and squid into Europe, South Coast rock lobster into North America. The pilchards and anchovies we sell locally here in South Africa. About 80% of our revenue is export driven. We can also see here there's been a significant increase on contribution of revenue from Europe as compared to the prior year. So there's a bit of less reliance on the USA and Far East in terms of revenue contributions. In terms of segmental profits, all of the divisions performed well. There's significant, obviously, profits contributions from the squid sector, mainly driven by the volumes as well as the acquisition of Talado, and the lobster sector as well. Pelagics profits are down because of that low catches on the pilchard side. On the hake side, profits are down because of a once-off expense that we incurred on the maintenance of a vessel. But we'll explain it later when we go through the operational divisions. The operating profit per segment, the contributions, you can see last year most of the operating profits were coming from the lobster and pelagic side, but with the acquisition of Talado now we can see that squid and lobster are now the main contributors to the operating profits for the group. In terms of the divisional performance, okay, with the lobster, we had good catch rates during the current year. We caught 100% of our quotas this year. Last year, I think we only caught about 80% of our quota by year end, but the balance we caught in the month of September, which also resulted in us selling more volumes as compared to the prior year. In terms of the market is going strong. We've seen like a 4% increase of pricing in USD terms, and within this division, we continuously concentrate on cost savings and reducing the cost of the landed product, so that we can maintain our margins. On the pelagic side, we only landed about 25% of our pilchards this year. Volumes, obviously, sales volumes were significantly down. That's what resulted in the decrease in revenue and operating profits. But we managed to catch about 80% of our anchovies. The volumes, if the effect of volumes on profits was mitigated by the price increase that we managed to achieve year on year, we managed to get like an 8% increase in pricing for pilchards and anchovies. Then in terms of squid, we experienced exceptional catch rates for squid. You know, divisions almost double the catches as compared to the prior year. Also, with the consolidation of Talado, revenues are like 272% more than the prior year. Even though there were significant volumes that were going to the market in terms of the catches, the prices remained stable and firm, and they continue to remain stable as it is. We got about the same pricing that we had last year. As we stand, I think the catch rates from September and October similar to what we experienced in the 2018 financial year. So going forward, we expect good performance as well from the squid sector. Then within the hake sector, we also had good catch rates, a good size mix as well of product landed, and on our pricing, we achieved like a 3% increase in pricing. There was a breakdown of the vessel. It was unforeseen, so we incurred like a major repairs expense there to try and get the best vessel back to sea. That was a once-off thing. So going forward, we expect the profitability to be on that 12 million mark. Then with the abalone, our stock holding increased by about 19 tons from the prior year. We obviously on a strategy of increasing our stock in preparation for the farm expansion. I think once fully expanded, we're going to go from a 120-ton farm to about a 320-ton farm. The construction there is going very well. We expect construction to be done by the end of Q1 in 2019. We also see that there is increased demand for the product, and as a consequence, also our market prices have been going up with 7% higher than in the prior year. With the expansion, we are expecting significant increase in volumes and profits from this division, but that will come through into 2020 once the farm has been fully developed. So I'll give it over to Samir.
Just on the strategic and on the growth side, as we know, last year when we went out listing, we said we've got two key areas where we'll focus on. The one is the organic growth, and that's obviously the abalone expansion, which hopefully will be completed by the end of the 2019 calendar year. Our intention is to triple our hatchery capacity to meet production demands for the new farm. Acquisitions we're currently pursuing locally as well as internationally that will complement our strategic fit, and watch out for future announcements very shortly. Just a recap of the acquisition of Talado. We acquired a major stake in Talado Fishing Enterprises, 50.31% in the current year. Effective date 30th of November 2017. Total purchase price was 105 million. Talado is the largest squid company in South Africa with annual catch volumes in excess of 2,500 tons. They have a fleet of 18 vessels. We only consolidated the results from the 9th of May, and that's important because commercially the effective date was the 30th of November, so we only consolidated about 20% of the results this year. They contributed about 80 million revenue and about profit of 20 million since the effective date of the acquisition. 20.7 million was contributed by Talado to the cash generated from operations. Just to recap again, the IFRS, or let me call it the technical statement that's been reported for the 2018 year. Revenue of 409.11 million. EBITDA 111,868 million. EBITDA margins 23% compared to 20% last year. Operating profit 91 million compared to 65 million. Operating profit margins up by 3% from 16% in the 2017 year. Profit after tax 68 million last year compared to 95 million in the current year, and headline earnings up from 69 million to 82 million. And another recap just to show if we had to effectively consolidate from the 1st of December 2017, the numbers for the Premier Group would have been 581 million for revenue, GP 272 million, EBITDA 159 million, Operating profit 142 million. Balance sheet, as you can see, still a strong cash position on the balance sheet. Cash sitting at the moment of about 350 million. And then just something for our shareholders this year. Last year was our first maiden dividend of 15 cents per share. And the board has approved a 67% increase in dividends, and that translates to 25 cents per share for the 2018 financial year. Any questions? Look, at the moment, you must have seen there has been lots of media things around FRAP 2020. There is a policy document that's expected to come out. It should be now by the end of the month, but I think it's going to be more mid-November with regards to what's going to happen over there. The rumors in the market is that the FRAP process will probably commence by the end of the year or early in the new year, January, February. Obviously, it's very different to the FRAP 015. It's going to be 2 years before the 2020 position, and it's obviously going to give companies to let them know whether they've been successful or not, and obviously to start with restructuring. As you know, if we go back, let me go back to the first slide just with regards to Premier's position. As you know, we're one of the largest black-owned fishing companies in South Africa. So from a transformation perspective, we're quite solid because, as you know, government look at a number of factors: transformation, investment in the industry, job creation, skills development, and as you know, we tick most of those boxes. And as well, as you know, there's something new that's coming up, what we call the incubation period, and Premier has already implemented that about 5 years ago, where we are incubating smaller fishing companies to get into the system, and mostly black companies, which government wants the bigger companies obviously to do. Any other questions?
A bit of talk about the state of the lobster population. Do you see that quota being slashed?
Again, yeah, I think what, can you just introduce yourself?
Sorry, Tim Brebner.
Yeah, that's the guys making reference to the WWF, the court case between WWF and the Department of Fisheries, I think about a month and a half ago. So there's been no word with regards to what the TAC, the total allowable catch, is going to be. But there has been some positiveness both from industry, from all the other major fishing companies, as well as DAF. We are speaking at the moment. Obviously, the sustainability of the resource is quite important for every single one, whether it's a small man or the big man. So I think I don't want to obviously preempt anything, but from our side, we look at a number of factors as an industry, the sustainability of the resource, as well as the socio-economic impact. But definitely, if the minister has to reduce the resource for future generations to come, we will definitely support that.
We're happy to answer some more questions. But while you're thinking about your question, I just want to say, as I said, Premier Fishing listed last year, and obviously a lot of promises were made. But as you can see, we went to raise capital, and we're spending it very, very wisely. You can see we still generated more cash, and there's still 350 million to be spent. But I just want to say, and Malik, I mean, Samir's asked me earlier on just to say thank you to Malcolm and Craig for taking that leap of faith with our organization, obviously, because it's very difficult in this environment when there's fake news and things happening and all that stuff. But you will understand from that delivery of these results that this management is very focused. They keep their head down, they're under the radar, they just get things done. And I can say to you that I know there's plans in place for further growth going forward. And Malcolm, Craig, thanks for taking the leap of faith with Premier Fishing and trusting your business to Premier. And I know that the partnership has worked well, and I think it will grow even further and further. I mean, as you guys know. Sorry, by the way, Malcolm and Craig are the two young gentlemen sitting in front here. Malcolm has become our big brother in the organization, and we always welcome that. I mean, Samir and I are always willing to learn, and we learn from each other. And it's exciting to have Craig in the organization in the broad sense. He comes with young and fresh ideas. Malcolm has got all the wisdom of a few hundred years. And we do appreciate that, Malcolm and Craig. And I think, as somebody asked earlier on, yes, you know, the business has grown about 15–20% organically, but you cannot grow a business organically by more than that for too long. And obviously, with the growth of with the Lardo, it was part of the plan that we raised the capital to go and do acquisitions, and that's exactly what we've done. We said we're going to grow the abalone farm. We've done that to some extent. It's still in process. We've done one acquisition. We're looking for more. So the money is all safe. It's looking after itself. Yes, we did give maybe too much dividend away. I'm sure you guys don't believe in that, but we also want to share, and I think that's quite critical, and we want to thank obviously all of you. Just by the way, we're going to be doing a roadshow to the farm so people can see where we've been and what we've achieved so far. So if anybody's interested, maybe just leave your name and details at the reception with the ladies, because we're going to try and take a bus out here sometime later of November.
That's going to be either the end of November or early in December.
Just to, okay, and then it would be nice to have some of you come along on that trip to see what we've done. Because seeing is believing, right? Reading is not always true. And thank you, but is there any other questions?
Any other questions, please? Yeah.
Can I ask a high-level question? You changed your name a short while ago. You are a fishing company. What will your position be going forward regarding your business? Are you going to stick to being a fishing company? I ask that because I've had long meetings with Sea Harvest, and as you know, they bought Ladysmith butter. And the reason they did that deal is the founders of Ladysmith wanted strong EEE and a family culture to keep ownership of that business, which is why they stayed with Brimstone or Sea Harvest rather than going to AVI, Tiger Brands, etc., etc. What's your high-level position going forward as a business in terms of expanding this company to complementary categories or new areas of business?
Look, I think we'll obviously know very well once the policies comes out now in November to see exactly where the government is going towards transformation in the sector, who they're going to be bringing in. We might also look at other avenues, something similar to Sea Harvest, obviously from a diversification perspective, but we'll obviously wait and see once the new policies do come out. But that option is always on the table, obviously, to look at other avenues to spread our wings maybe in the food space, but it must complement our business itself as well.
And it's just one of the competitive advantages that we have, not just at Premier but as a whole group, is our agility to make decisions very quickly. And you know, in these industries and markets that we're in, fishing is obviously a lucrative industry, but it's political, there's other issues, especially in the local market. Offshore is very different. However, if we as a board or the board gets together and as shareholders need to change direction in any way for sustainability, then that will happen. But we never sit back. I mean, we think of new ideas and that also. Hence the name, the Fishing and Brands, we kept it fairly open. And if an opportunity in the food industry comes along that we understand and can complement the business, I don't think it's something we won't look at. We'll look at, but obviously in a sustainable way. And if you've got any opportunities with us, just give us a shout. Yeah. Any other questions? If not, I want to just thank Samir and his team, obviously. Feroza also, who's done some good work. Malcolm and Craig for being here and taking the time. And the rest of the shareholders taking your time. And I mean, we will be around if anyone wants to ask us a little bit more difficult questions, one-on-one. We're happy to answer them. Thank you very much.